Radio Rahim with Frank Warren. I gotta tell you, I didn't expect to be talking to you this early in the day, but I was chasing you last night even. Promoter's work seems to be never done. Yesterday was somebody else's problem, and now it is yours. First, there's always the rumor mill as soon as anything happens in boxing. So there's multiple versions of the story already. So can we just get a TikTok of what happened since the last time I spoke to you?
What, with Daniel being
Of course, yeah.
He's been diagnosed and has a real bad viral infection. He's not well, and he see a Saudi doctor. Saudi doctor prescribed him some medicine, and obviously you've got to check to make sure that medicine that's been prescribed is not any of the ingredients are not on the VADA list. So that was done, and then the Boxing Board of Control were notified, and then the Boxing Board of Control chief medical officer is here, went to see him and checked him out. And he's just getting worse and worse. He was worse today, actually. So if it hadn't been cancelled yesterday, it would have been cancelled today. So that happens. I mean, what are you going to do? It's his I mean, it's not his biggest. It's a massive purse he was getting paid. He's had a real good training camp, laid out a fortune on it, paying the sparring partners, the camp that he was in, the nutritionist, the hotels, everything. None of that is recoupable. It's all dead money. So, he's obviously very upset about that. And Joe, at one stage, thought he wasn't going to get a fight. So thankfully, he's on there and in with Bakole.
Now, you being the promoter of both fighters, I'd assume that's already a difficult situation. Now you throw this in. Were you the first to be notified when Daniel started to feel ill?
Yeah, I mean, they rang. I got a call saying he weren't very good, and that's when we got, wanted to get a doctor to see him. That's what happened. He wanted a fight. I mean, that's the truth of the matter. But at the end of the day, he was told categorically he wouldn't be allowed to.
Now, I imagine at that moment, of course, we want Daniel to recover quickly and well, everything come back healthy and ready to fight. But in that moment, you've immediately got to scramble. Like, all right, in case that isn't going to happen, what do we do? What were the first thoughts that came to your mind?
Well, obviously there's a lot of thoughts about opponents, and it's not just thinking of names. You've got to make sure that they have their medicals are all in order. They haven't been on any VADA program, regular testing. There's all these things to think about. The logistics of where they are. We're in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. He's getting them in the country. A couple of our guys were in Dubai, who we knew that everything was in order, and they're only an hour away, which would be like if this had happened in the UK, it'd been like somebody flying down from Glasgow to London. Right. But it was decided upon that it'd be, that Bakole was the name. So that's where it went to, and he's flying in from the Congo.
When the speculation began, Bakole seemed like a distant dream. Like everybody would be like, well, that would be fun, but nobody thought that could possibly happen. When did that name first come to the surface?
There was a lot of names were mentioned at the time, because you go down the list and see who's available, who's fighting, who's not. And that he was one of the names that was mentioned, and that's what happened, and the fight was made.
Well, I guess what I'm getting at is who put Bakole forward, because there's already some debate as to how he got.
I didn't put him forward. I didn't even consider him, because I heard that he was in the Congo, but he's apparently been training down there, so he fit the criteria and he's in.
Did Joseph ask for anybody?
Joseph said he would like to fight him.
So he did pull up.
Him and Andy Lee said that's who they'd like to fight.
That's an incredible choice to make. I mean, that's got to be the toughest of all the potential opponents. What do you think the thinking is there? Because there's two sides to look at it, right? Like, okay, you're getting the monster that everybody thinks is the monster, but you're getting him on 2 days' notice. Maybe that's an advantage to Parker. But then he's gone through a whole camp training for another guy. So where does the advantages lie?
There aren't, are there? Because neither of them have trained for the fight. It's probably like going back to the amateur days, going into a tournament, and you just draw it out of a hat, and that's who you fight in a couple of days' time. So that's what it was.
We know that Joseph, if he were to have beaten Dubois, would become world champion. That's got to be the main motivation for this fight, no matter what. So that being off the table, what does a win over Bakole provide?
Money. They're professional boxers. They've trained hard, and he's trained hard. Joey wants to get paid. That's what they're in it for. You know, they're in it. That's what they do. They've got to pay their bills, their families, look after them. That's what they do. And you know, the other thing was to postpone the fight altogether. But it takes, you know, there's loads of different ramifications. At the end of the day, you make sometimes decisions are made just very, very quickly. They're done, and that's it. And we just get on with it and move forward.
For Bakole's sake, I mean, it seems like if he were to come through with a jog bar, he would have to fight the winner of Parker and Dubois, maybe for the title himself. Was there any negotiation made about something being promised to the winner of this fight? Do they definitely get a shot? Is the shot still in?
No one's had time for that, Brad. You know, it is what it is to fight. And obviously, what will happen next is from our perspective, is hopefully Joe comes through. And obviously then Daniel, we've got to work out when we get back, we'll have a get together and work out what we're going to do with him. You know,
we got to work through all the combinations of possibilities, Frank. I know it's a bit annoying, but
I'm going to tell you now, don't waste your breath, because I ain't even consider it. We ain't even had time to do that. We've been so busy. I ain't even going to go there with that. Next week we will go through all that.
Sitting ringside, it's going to be Anthony Joshua. It's going to be Usyk, who they have both openly stated they were waiting for the outcome of Dubois Parker.
They'll wait for it now, aren't they?
But this also possibly sets up a possibility of Dubois going straight in for undisputed.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah,
sounds good.
So we just made the fight. Then.
I haven't got. Well, all right, we'll just do that now. It's made.
Yeah. Okay. Have you spoken to Ben Shalom directly? I mean, now that he's the co-promoter, no, not at all. I
haven't spoken to him at all. No.
So is it just His Excellency that's like the go-between?
It was done. I was sorting out one thing. We was all working differently on all different things to just get a fight on, and that was it.
I spoke to Eddie Hearn, of course. You know, he says maybe it's the winner of Bakole Joshua, but since he was out with an injury, which is the reason that he says that it wasn't Dubois immediately, now there's a potential that it could be the Dubois rematch for Joshua.
See, the good thing is when you're the champion, you've got such a good choice, and it's the champion's decision what he wants to do.
I mean, obviously, the best for Dubois would have been to fight on Saturday. That's off the table. So what is, as his promoter, if you're just looking at his best options, what would be the best option going forward if he is available again this summer? Undisputed.
Yeah, it's a great rematch.
All right. And lastly on this one, for Parker's sake, this was a voluntary, right? So he's lost the shot at the title, and he's coming up against what most people think is the biggest monster. Do you think that this is a tougher or better fight for him than Parker? Because that's the other conversation people are having. Is this a better fight?
How can it be a tougher fight? It's for the world title. Where does that come from?
Yeah, well, I agree with you, Frank. I'm happy to say that. Not only do I think it's not a tougher fight, I don't think it's a better fight either.
It's not a better fight. But it's a good fight. But it's a good fight, and it is what it is. But no, I mean, come on. You know, the winner of that IBF title belt, the winner of that fight, the plan was to go in for the unification. So that's got to be the better fight. More to gain. How
do you break down the matchup between Parker and Bakole? How do you see it unfolding?
How do I see it?
Yeah,
I fancy Joe.
But how?
I think he could stop him if he catches him.
Really?
Yeah, he's fit. He's trained hard. Look at him. He's trained hard. He's trained hard. I mean, he's not trained for this guy, but and he's a seasoned pro. So it's not like he's a young guy, suddenly I've got to change your opponent and he's fazed by it. He's not fazed by it. And he called for the fight.
He said to me that he was willing to go and stand and trade with Parker. And he said the same. I said, that's probably, he said with Dubois, I said, it's probably not a good idea. Do you think he has to outbox Bakole, or is standing and trading something that Parker should try?
Look, this is going to be the best opponent he's been in with. Not Bakole. This is the best opponent he's been. He's going in with a winning fighter. Let's see what he's about. I mean, was it Gerald Anderson is his best win? But I mean, I'm not being rude to Gerald Anderson. Gerald Anderson, hadn't proved himself at a level, and he'd done a good job against Gerald Anderson. I fancied him to beat Gerald Anderson. I fancied a lot of my guys would have beaten him. We'll see now. Let's see where he's at.
How long till Bakole arrives? Has he made it here yet?
No, I think he's on his way now.
I mean, talk about coming in on the 11th hour. Is he even going to make the weigh-in?
I doubt it.
But it's not necessary. Does he weigh in on the day? What do we do in a situation like
He's
this?
a heavyweight.
But he does have to at least take a weight, right?
Well, of course he'll take a weight. He can step on the scales and get up, but he's a heavyweight.
Is there any concern?
If it had been a lighter weight, anything under where you had to make a weight limit, the fight wouldn't be happening.
Okay. Is there any concern that we're getting Bakole off the couch and not out of the gym? He's not prepared for this fight. Are there any hurdles to this? I mean, assuming that he's not sick, is there any any way that this fight somehow doesn't happen? Is there still yet hurdles to clear?
No, as far as I understand, his people have said everything's in order. So there's no hurdles. It's all in order. It's in order.
And lastly, I did ask Eddie last night, as soon as he got off the stage, I was like, did you nudge Frank at all? Did you ask him anything about the potential of Joshua Dubois? And he went on a rant about, well, it's only been 20 minutes, such and so forth. Have you heard from him at all?
No, it's only been a day.
You guys act like this thing doesn't happen.
It's only been 23 hours and 40 minutes.
We're only talking about like $100 million or something. Yes.
I ain't got time for all that. If you got to live in the moment. We've got to get this all sorted out over the line, which it is over the line, but hopefully no problems today. Get the fight on tomorrow, and then we've got plenty of time to sit down and look at all these things and different options.
I'd say as soon as that final bell rings, I think people are going to start getting in each other's ears for sure.
Yeah, they're there.
Maybe.
Well, they get, but the good thing about it is that there's lots of good options, and there's lots of good fights to be made. Lots of good fights.
Well, I know His Excellency isn't shy about stating what he would like. Has he made any indication of how he might like this thing to shake out?
We've not even had a conversation about any of that because obviously we've all been focused on this poxy aggravation from yesterday. I mean, it's just a killer for everybody, killer for all the fighters, fans. Everyone. We had real high hopes of a great fight there.
Well, it's so difficult to put on what is claimed to be the greatest fight in boxing history. I don't know if the card still stands up to that without the world title shot, but it's still a hell of a fight. This is a great, incredible fight that we're getting.
I mean, you just asked me about the Bakole and Joe Parker fight. You just said to me, what do you think? There's people in their head who think it's a better fight, and they've got their reasons to think. So it's not changed in any way. The magnificence of this fight card. It's a brilliant fight card.
And we have an opportunity for what could be an amazing upset. I don't know which one's the upset, if Bakole comes off the so-called couch and makes this win, or if Parker switches last minute.
So he's been so I'm told he's been training hard in the Congos because he's got that fight coming up, hasn't he?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Like, yeah, maybe, but the fight wasn't scheduled for any time soon.
You got to tick over and keep yourself in shape, So it is what it is.
Well, see, we keep ourselves in shape for these interviews. Get up, you know what I mean? Yeah. Get right out of the bed and get these things cracking. So I appreciate it, Frank. I know.
Come out of my bath chair.
It's an endless, tireless effort for you. So to make time for me is very gracious. As always, a pleasure. Radio Rahim with Frank Warren.